bird. All we do is win, losing's a dirty word. Selling out them seats, the city is on blast. Gotta get your tickets cause they selling out fast.
Good morning, everyone. This is Chris on Around the ATL on IMTN Worldwide Radio. I'm trying to figure out why that. I almost might need to play that again, but I'll do that later. Um, oh, I know why, because I never uploaded it here. I added something to the intro and I was looking for it and I missed it. Anyway, so this is an impromptu episode of Around the ATL Side Notes. I was not planning to do this. I was going to pick a Facebook group and do a Facebook Live, but I figured I might as well just do it on here and then I could just post the link everywhere. So that's what I'm going to do. So, what do I mean by the title of this particular episode when it comes to the facts have to matter? Don't facts matter to anybody anymore, or is it just situational? Okay, so let's talk about it. We're going to talk Atlanta Hawks mostly in this particular discussion. So I want to bring up first of all the see, what do I want to start with? Let's talk turnovers. So in the NBA, turnovers are never good, right? But they are part of the game. Why? Because if you pass the ball an inordinate amount of times, you're probably going to give up the ball a few times when you're trying to make plays. You're actively trying to get your guys the ball. Now, one thing I've always talked about, I don't like the fact that you can be credited with a turnover even though the player who was given the ball fumbles the ball somehow. I don't think that should be credited to the passer, but it happens. Nothing you can do about it. Okay. And I've talked about this in the past with, some of the greats in the NBA who have career turnovers that are pretty high. Considering that they pass the ball a lot, but what also translates out is how many assists are they getting per game? And the want of them to want to pass the ball that many times anyway, right? So let's talk about turnovers, but let's talk about passes first, because that has to be in there a little bit, right? So as of right now, Joker leads the NBA with 78 passes made a game. Now, when I talk about passes, I'm not just talking about passes to a player that's going to result in a shot. I'm just talking about passing the ball, period, in a game. How many times is a player passing the ball? So Joker leads the league with 78. And that makes sense for what he does on the floor, right? Tyrese Halliburton is second with 74. Jalen Johnson of the Atlanta Hawks is 66. Trae Young is at 64 passes per game. Okay. Now, that being said, guess who leads the NBA in assists to points created? It's Trae Young at 28 points a game. But guess who else leads the NBA in potential assists a game? Trae Young at 21. Now, let me repeat this in a way to make sure that you understand how ridiculous this is. Trae Young leads the NBA 28 points a game based off of his distribution of the ball. Okay. And then he leads the league in a category called potential assists, which means if people hit their shots, Trae Young would average 21 assists a game. Trae Young currently averages 11, 12 a game because he's gone down a few games because he's not had great games lately, right? But he's getting 11, but this is telling you he should be at 21. So think about the field goal attempts that are being made that aren't going in. Think about that. Okay, so let's talk turnovers real quick, and I'm going to come back to the passes in a second. So Trae Young definitely leads the NBA in turnovers at 4.7 a game. Okay, and by the way, if you happen to be watching this off of Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook, make sure you comment if you have a comment. So Trae Young leads the NBA in turnovers a game with 4.7. James Harden is second with 4.6. Do you know who is third in the NBA? Cade Cunningham. This is a fact. He's third in the NBA with 4.6 turnovers a game. Now, is anybody talking about that? No, they're not. Why? His team is winning. Why is his team winning? Because they're better suited to mitigate his 4.6 turnovers a game than Trey's team is. They're more consistent. Consistency can make you a winning team or a losing team very easily. Right? Now, 4.6 turnovers a game won't lose you games. I've proved that in previous episodes because I would go back and say, okay, let's see how these points off of turnovers are looking. Because unless Trae Young is giving up 25 points on turnovers a game, you can't really levy that to be like, that's the reason we're losing games. And I've already shown that. Now, if you're turning the ball over 8, 9, 10, 11 times a game, yeah, we got problems now. That's it. That's an issue. But why are we having all these turnovers, though, too? Unfortunately, some of that is per our personnel again. JJ not being there recently is an issue because he was one of the people who offset people being able to corner Trae because you have another ball handler who could distribute the ball on the floor at the same time with Trae. So you couldn't just lean on Trae. But we've had so many games where Trae would have his game, 20 points and whatever, and then you basically just have Hunter 20 points, and then that's it. You have 3 starters in the starting lineup barely scratching 15 points total. So if nobody else on the floor is a threat, all you got to do is say, well, Trae's going to keep passing the ball anyway, even though those other people aren't a threat. Trae's not going to shoot the ball anymore. So let's just pay all the passing lanes and just make life miserable. And that's what's been happening. Trae Young has only taken 20 plus shots a game like a dozen times this year. Okay, out of the 40 plus games they've played. I just told you Trae Young passes the ball 64 times a game, and he has 21 potential assists a game. That's a lot of passes, right? I told you I would get back to those passes in a second, right? That's something, isn't it? Something to think about. So that being said, if we're talking about points and we're talking about passes and we're talking about turnovers, I want to go over the Raptors game from a week ago where the Atlanta Hawks lost a game that they really couldn't afford to lose, and we lost it to a team that hasn't been winning that much, right? And it's the second time we've lost against them. But why did we lose against them? And again, let's go back to passes again, okay? Just passes. In that particular game, JJ was hurt. Zach wasn't playing, the rookie. Hunter was not playing, right? So, or not playing well, I should say. So in that game, they lost that game. I don't know what the score is. I didn't pull the score. I told you this was a on the fly deal there. I didn't let it to do that. But go back and look at the last game. You'll see that score for you. I'll pull it up. Shoot. I'll pull it up real quick. Just to give the full story. Yep, this is it. So we lost that game 117-94. Okay. Trae Young only had 4 assists in that game. But did you know this is a fact? Again, facts have to matter all the time, not just some of the time. In that game where he had 4 assists, 13 of his passes went for 0 points. We left 34 points on the board. Wide open layups, wide open jump shots, mostly threes, wide open threes. Shots created from Trae Young. Boom, here's the ball. Open 3, miss. Open 3, miss. Open 3, miss. 21 of those points were in the fourth quarter. Bogey, wide open three. Bogey, wide open three. Clint, wide open dunk. Plowden, alley-oop. Dyson, floater. Bogey, wide open three. Plowden, wide open three. Barlow, wide open three. 21 points in the fourth quarter were left on the board from passes generated from Trae Young. He had 4 assists in that game. 13 open shots not made. See, that consistency really tells a tale when I just finished telling you that Trae Young passes the ball 64 times a game. He leads the league in 28 points off of assists a game, and he leads the league in 21 potential assists a game. That's a big deal right there. Isn't it? Or not? Because again, this goes back to the organization not wanting to build a team around its best player properly, as opposed to other teams and how they build around their best players. Because I just told you, Cade Cunningham is 3rd in the league in turnovers a game, and it don't matter to nobody. What else happened in that Raptors game? Besides the fact that we left 34 points on the board from wide open shots. Here's some of the things that happened in that game. Nance was 2 of 10 from the floor. Bogey was 2 of 12 from the floor in that game, 0 of 6 from 3. Garrison was 1 of 5 from 3. Trae was 1 of 4 from 3 himself. But that wouldn't have mattered if the other people hit their shots from passes from Trae Young. The Hawks also gave up 54 points in the paint and 20 fast break points in that game as well. So even with the bad shooting, if we don't give up 54 points in the paint and 20 fast break points, we still have a shot to win that game anyway. Because guess what? Both teams turned the ball over 20 times in that Raptors game. The game we lost 117-94. You see those things I just read off? Now, at the same time, on the positive side, Vitt had one of his better games, 20 points, 7 assists, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Okongwu, 19 and 8, 5 dimes, 4 steals. Dyson had 13 points, 6 dimes, 5 steals. But again, what have I told y'all? Since JJ has been out, we have games where most of the time we would have 3 starters barely score 15 points combined, 15, 20 points between 3 players. And so Trae and Hunter, right? If they're not getting to at least 20 apiece, we're definitely not winning that game. But even if they did get 20 apiece, with the other 3 players in the starting lineup, if they don't produce, we don't have a shot. It's too many people either not being consistent or just plain old not producing. Now, here's the kicker, because here's the defense part of things, right? And continually I've said, well, you can't keep saying these things that aren't true if they're not true. Trae Young isn't the one giving up all the points every game. He gives up points, don't get me wrong. Just like he turns the ball over. That's a fact. Well, are we losing games because of that? In that particular Raptors game that we lost 117-94, Dyson gave up 14 points in that game. Vitt gave up 21 points in 35 minutes in that game. Okongwu gave up 9 points. Garrison gave up 13 points in that game off the bench. 13 points. Bogey gave up 7, Roddy 3, Trae 6, Nance 14. Clint only played 13 minutes. He gave up 4 points. Now, one of the things I've talked about when I started doing that particular part of the show a couple of months ago was that sometimes you give up points per your matchup. If your matchup is not scoring or not trying to score, you're not going to give up any points in that game necessarily, right? Your main player, the person you're assigned to, right? The other thing that will go into that is how many minutes are you playing? The other thing would be rotations, right? But on the one-on-one stuff, it's going to come up. It's going to be glaring. You know, it's going to be glaring. Did you prevent shots from going in the basket? Podol had 9 points in that Raptors game. Davion Mitchell had 8 points. So who was guarding Scotty Barnes and RJ Barrett? Because they had 24 and 23 points respectively. Who were guarding those guys? Boucher had 23 points off the bench. Who was guarding him? And were any of them named Trae Young? No, is the answer to that. The 2023 season, I talked about the Minnesota Timberwolves game. How did Rudy Gobert have 25 points, went 10 of 10 from the floor? Who was guarding Rudy Gobert in that game? Was it Trae Young? We lost that game by 3 points. Was Trae Young guarding Rudy Gobert? Would it be reasonable to have Trae Young guarding Rudy Gobert? Let's ask that question that way. These are facts. They're indisputable because that has to matter all the time. Doesn't it? Doesn't it matter that a guy who was averaging 24 points a game all of a sudden has 42 points a game, and you have to ask, well, who's guarding Wemby? So let's talk about that a little bit. And I'm referring to some of my posts on Twitter this morning. So go back if you want to check it out. Intellect ATL. Let me see if I can find that real quick for y'all. There we go. Intellect ATL is mine, and my co-host Jordan Jackson, Jordan23 ATL. But go and look it up because I have all these posts up right now for most of this. Last night, the Latvian Dirk had 34 and 11. You know who Latvian Dirk is? You know that's Porzingis, right? He had 34 points, 11 rebounds last night. Zubac had 21 and 22. He had 18 and 18 against us a couple of weeks ago, right? Who was guarding Zubac? Was Trae Young guarding Zubac? Anyway, Wemby had 23 and 12 last night. Gafford had 22 and 12. Joker had a mild 17, 6 and 6. Cat 14 and 10, 5 dimes. Sabonis 13, 11 and 14, another triple-double. Those are our facts right there. Why does that matter at all? It might not to some people, but to me it does, because continually we keep seeing production out of the 5 spot and all these other teams in the NBA on a week-to-week basis, and we can't get that consistently in Atlanta forever. So let's get into the facts as far as that is occurring. Because either we make a move and we trade Clint, or we make a move and trade Okongwu, and Clint is your backup center for the rest of his career, or Okongwu is. Or you trade both of them. Because if neither of them can be consistent, again, we got to look at that. I say you need to get a veteran center that can be competitive on the production end, and then you can draft, finally, for the first time since Eddie Tavares, somebody who's 7 feet tall with skills, not just 7 feet tall. Remember, since 1996, the Hawks have drafted 3 players 7 feet tall: Priest Lardell, Keith Benson, Eddie Tavares. That's the list. That's it. And the only centers we've had of note that are difference makers in basketball for the Atlanta Hawks since the 80s that have been in the Hawks uniform: Moses Malone, the only Hawks center to average 20 points a game, by the way, in a season. Dikembe, defensive player of the year multiple times. Rest in peace, obviously, right? I'll throw Al Horford in there as a difference maker because he could do a lot of things. He just didn't do it consistent enough or at a higher rate that I would have liked him to, even though he could do everything. Y'all know previous shows I've said everything about Al Horford, how he should have been a 20 and 12 player, maybe even more than that. Because he could shoot the 3, he could hit a jumper, he could drive to the basket, he could hit his free throws, he could hit the 3, and he could play defense. He could rotate. He could do all those things, but the most we got out of Al, we did get 118 a game season out of him, but other than that, he averaged 14 and 7. That was Al. And then after Al, Clint, 2020 season, where he averaged 15 points, 14 rebounds, which he has not done since then. His numbers have gone down since the 2020 season. So it has to matter at a certain point that we can't have a threat at the 5 as compared to all these other teams that continually have threats at the 5. It helps them win more games than us. It has to matter at a certain point. Because guess what? 9 rebounds a game don't really matter that much unless you're stopping the other center on the other team from scoring. Because unless it's 9 offensive rebounds and you're scoring off of all 9 offensive rebounds yourself, and that's 18 points a game, you're scoring because you're getting an offensive rebound and you putting it back in. Or if it's, nine defensive rebounds each night where you're taking 9 possessions from the other team, 9 rebounds total don't matter that much if it's 9 defensive rebounds and 5 offensive rebounds that you're not scoring on. And we know this because Clint Capella right now is averaging 9.4 points a game. That's his average. That's what he's doing. Here are Clint's games this month for January. He is averaging in 20 minutes a game, 8.8 points a game. So for the beginning of the month, Denver, 4 points, 7 rebounds, 8 points, 7 rebounds, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 18 points, 6 boards, 10 points, 11 rebounds, 3 points, 8 rebounds, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 3 points, 9 rebounds, 12 points, 9 rebounds, 16 and 10. That was a good game there. 5 points, 4 rebounds, and 10 points, 15 boards. 15 boards, that's good. 10 points. You're shooting 55% from the field so far this year, which when the only shot you can hit is from at the basket is not great. It just isn't. I'm sorry, it's not. It would be if he was shooting other shots from the field, but again, he shoots 0% from 3. He's not taking a 3 all season, just checking, and he's 0% for his career. So when you're not a threat to shoot the ball unless you're under the basket, it limits things on offense. And Trae Young is leading the NBA in 21 potential assists a game. What if we had a 5 that could hit shots in the post regularly? Hit shots at the top of the free throw line. Just take the ball and turn around and shoot it over somebody and hit it. Trae Young would be at 21 assists a game. Right there. That's an extra 6 assists right there. He's averaging 11, 12 assists a game now. He leads the league in 28 points a game off of his assists now. What if we had a 5? Here's what he did in December, just for you to know that he's gone down. Because he was averaging 11 points a game wait a minute, that's November. My bad. In December, he was averaging 7.8 points a game. So he actually went up 1 point in January so far. My bad. See how I corrected that though? 9 points. Here's the crazy thing. He had 2 back-to-back 17 rebound games in December. 9.17 rebounds, 8.17 rebounds. Guess what? We won both of those games. But then 4 points, 4 rebounds, 9 points, 10 rebounds, 11 points, 13 rebounds at Knicks win. We needed that. 6.8 rebounds, 10 points, 9 rebounds, 8 points, 8 rebounds, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 6.7 rebounds, and 11 points, 12 rebounds. Clint Capella this season has 2 games where he scored 20 points. In those games, in the first one, he was 8 of 14 from the floor. And in the other one, he was 10 of 14 from the floor. He has 2 games where he scored 20 points. He has 2 games where he scored 18 and 2 games where he scored 16. And everything else is, well, he doesn't have any games where he scored 15. He doesn't have any games where he scored 14. He has no games where he scored 13, and no, he has one game where he scored 14 and 115. My bad. That was all the way in November. Everything else is 12 or less a game. So when the other team knows you're not going to score, that hampers you. You are not a threat. And then you're missing layups on top of that, and then you also can't hit free throws. That's a fact that needs to be addressed. Now, again, I said that Okongwu needs to start this year. If we don't make no moves, we need to flip because at least Okongwu can hit an occasional three. Okongwu can hit free throws, and he finishes better at the rim. He actually has moves down there. He has post moves, and Okongwu can pass the ball as well as defending. He blocks shots. He's shown that. Now, the problem with Okongwu has been health and then his own consistency. Because the last couple of games, Okongwu hasn't played great either. But he gives you more than what Clint can do on a consistent basis. So again, it's a matter of which poison do you want less? Do you want to try to start Okongwu for a period of time and give him his shot as a number 6 pick and then get a backup big? Or do you get an actual big that can produce now, have Okongwu back that person up, and then draft a big that has skills? Which one of those poisons are less than the other? But right now, we're in trouble because we're losing JJ's 20 points a game. So I say get Vucevic. That's 20 points, 10 boards, 40% from three right now. Let him play the rest of this season. Let him play the 2025 season. If we do right in the draft, we get the best skilled big that we can that has size, wingspan, and can put the ball in the bucket from closer than 6 feet. Can we get someone who can hit a 15-foot jumper? Why is it such a abhorrence to have a center that can hit a 15-foot jumper? You know how much better our lives would be if we had that? Again, Trae Young is leading the league in 21 potential assists a game. How many games have we had where Trae Young had 20 plus points and your rest of your starting lineup basically had 20? That has to stop at a certain point, guys, if we're going to compete. Just last night, Shea in OKC had 50-something points, and they lost that game because his starting lineup didn't scratch 10 points barely. I think I posted that on Twitter, Intellect ATL. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Maybe I didn't post it. I thought I did. Maybe I didn't. No. Yeah, 10 points combined. He had 3 people in the starting lineup have 10 points combined. He scored 52 points and they lost the game. So again, the other reason you have a big is some people are going to have bad games, and you need to have the chance to offset it. We have no chance to offset a bad game from Trae or JJ or Hunter or Bogey, right? So let's talk about passes again and potential assists specifically real quick. I just told y'all that for this season so far, Trae Young leads the league in total assists, obviously. He's leading the league in assists per game, right? And by the way, just as a reminder, this season, Trae Young would have led the league 3 of the last 4 seasons in total assists. And the only reason he didn't get it last year is because he was hurt. But he still finished 8th total assists. And remember, he's the only other player in NBA history. There's only one other to lead the league in both total points and assists in a season. And the only one who's done it in both college and the NBA. Don't forget that. Did you know that in that category of potential assists a game, Trae Young, since he's been in the league, has never been lower than 6th? Now, think about the rosters that Trae has been playing on since 2018. And what I just said. 2018, he was 6th in total assists in potential assist a game. 2019, he was 2nd. 2020, he was 3rd. 2021, he was fourth. 2022, he was second. 2023, he was first, and currently he's first. In potential assists a game, the Atlanta Hawks organization just, oh, ho hum, we're never going to put no consistent people around Trey, the best passer in the NBA. We're not going to let him get people the ball who can hit shots on a regular basis. We ain't going to do it. Nope. We're just going to let him be the potential assist leader in assist every year. Because he's trying to pass, he's passing the ball 64 times a game, and we're wasting it. He wants to do it. He continually is doing it. And like I said, Trae Young only has 12 games this season where he shot the ball more than 20 times a game. You know how easy it would be for Trae Young to average 30, 35 points a game right now? It'd be easy for him to do it, and he ain't doing it. He's doing everything in his power. But you can only do so much. Again, Bogey hadn't been hitting on nothing this season. He's averaging barely 10 points a game. He was averaging 15 a year ago. Zach has not had the greatest rookie season campaign. He's averaging double digits, but his percentage is terrible. He's missing a lot of shots. He's one of the ones who misses those wide open threes I told you about earlier. Him and Bogey mostly. Those facts have to matter at a certain point, guys. They really do. So here's another fact. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Let's talk efficiency, because people always come back to that. Because if they say, okay, well, it's not Trey in his defense, okay, and we know it ain't his passing because he's going to pass the ball. So what about his efficiency? Yeah, Trae Young doesn't shoot well. He's never been a great shooter. Well, does that really matter? I don't know. Now, I brought this up in regards to talking about the playoffs because nobody said nothing about Dominique Wilkins shooting 42% in his playoff career for the Hawks. 8 of the 12 times the Hawks got to the playoffs. Nobody's ever said anything about his shooting percentage. Not one. 42% from the field, 28% from three. Nobody has ever said a word. Okay? That was never a gripe. Why? Because without Dominique Wilkins, you have no shot. And I've done an episode on Around the ATL Side Notes. If you go back on IMTN Worldwide Radio on YouTube, go back and watch. I did a whole segment. I went all the way back to the 80s and came all the way up and said playoff series, playoff series, playoff series. Here's Dominique averaging 28 a game, and what's everybody else averaging? Dominique had no help. He's going against Larry Bird and Isaiah Thomas, and Patrick Ewing, and Michael Jordan, Brad Daugherty. Pacers, not the Pacers, but the Cavaliers at the time. He's going up against the greatest teams in the Eastern Conference yearly in the playoffs. And we can't get nobody else on his team other than Kevin Willis to average maybe 15 a game? What are we talking about? Or at least be consistent? So let's talk about efficiency. People out there wanted to have a person who was averaging 41% from the floor and 33% from three to start, and made him the leading vote getter for guards in the Eastern Conference. Who is that? LaMelo Ball. So does efficiency matter or not? When is it convenient to have that matter when this person who's shooting 41% from the floor and 33% from three is the leading vote getter in the NBA for guards in the Eastern Conference? When does it not matter? And is his team winning, by the way? See, I mentioned James Harden earlier, right? Because James Harden right now is shooting 39% from the floor. But his team is winning. He just got the claw back. Got Norman Powell, got Zubac balling out of control. You see where the weight comes in a little bit? When does it matter? I don't know. And again, make sure you listen to Around the ATL tonight on Sports Visions 92.1 FM on TuneIn. I will post that in the whenever I do post it, I'll post all that. But it is in the show post as well. And shout out to our, you know what? I did forget to do something. Let's do it now. I want to say shout out to our sponsors real quick. I'm going to segue this. I'm not going to forget. Southern Classic Transportation. Make sure you visit southernclassiclimo.com. Call them at 404-291-0150. Make sure you let them know Around the ATL sent you. They are based in Atlanta, but if you're in another city that's regional, they will come pick you up and take you to your destination and take you back safe. If you're in Atlanta, you need to go to the airport. They will take you there in style and comfort, obviously. If you have an event that you have to go to, they'll take you to that event, wait for you, and bring you back home. That's the whole purpose of having a car service. If you need to go to Miami, they will take you to Miami so you can get on your cruise. If you don't want to fly for whatever reason, they will do that. Okay, you just got to hit them up. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned them. Of course, there's imtnworldwideimages.com if you need photos of any kind. Make sure you contact them, www.imtnworldwideimages.com. And even though I technically, well, I'll do it like this. Shout out to America's Best Choice Windows in Columbus, Georgia. Since I'm doing this particular show, I can name them as a sponsor as well. Appreciate all of y'all. So let's get back to James Harden shooting 39% this season. Does that matter to anybody? Does it really matter? Because his team is winning. Is that again? His team is winning though, based off the talent that's on that team and how they're producing. Right? Again, sometimes it's not a matter of who the talent is what they are doing per whatever their role is, and they're doing that role very well. And I've talked about this with the Bulls from years ago, right? By themselves, Paxson, I was saying Steve Kerr, John Paxson, Steve Kerr, Craig Hodges by themselves, but on the right team that's going to get them the ball behind that three-point line, they're deadly because they're going to hit that shot all the time. By themselves, Scott Williams, Cliff Levingston, but on the right team, your job is to do this and your job is to do that. You do this the best you're able. Bill Wellington, Luke Longley, by themselves, but on the right team, hey, I just need you to hit this 12-foot jumper every now and again, sir. I need you to just get in there and grime it out on them rebounds. We're good. Judd Bushler has a ring, y'all. What did Judd Bushler ever do well, right? But on the right team, if you do that job for the minutes that you're assigned, you can be great. And over a period of time, the Atlanta Hawks just have not done that. They didn't do it for Dominique Wilkins. They didn't. Could have, but we didn't. We had Mookie, Dikembe, and Steve Smith on the same team for a period of time. They could have added. Did they? No. We had two iterations of the Hawks with Al Horford. Did they do enough? No. We won 60 games and did nothing the next season after that. That's ridiculous. We were in the Eastern Conference Finals, got swept, and then the very next year got swept again by the same team. All you got to do is look at the rosters, and if you don't want to do the work yourself, guess what? That show is on Around the ATL too, because I did it. Right? So, another fact. Oh, by the way, LaMelo Ball is shooting 42% for his career as well, okay? So just keep that in mind. He was the leading vote getter in the Eastern Conference, shooting 41% from the floor. But we're going to talk about Trey and his efficiency. You know Allen Iverson won MVP shooting 42% from the floor? Westbrook, 42% from the floor. Just saying. When does it matter? Does it matter? When does it matter if it matters? So those are a lot of just facts right there that you know, when you say them out loud, it gets kind of, well, what are we talking about? Cade Cunningham is third in the NBA in turnovers a game. Harden is shooting 39% from the floor, but his team is winning. We got all these bigs that continue to be productive in the NBA, but the Hawks can't get any of them for some reason, or we don't even want to get them. Like it's an inherence to a rule of some sort. It seems like that no matter what, we can't get a center that can give us 15 points a game consistently every game. We wouldn't be having this discussion if Clint was giving us 2020 numbers, 15 points, 14 rebounds a game, right? Would we be? I wouldn't be talking about him. I wouldn't say nothing. I wouldn't be able to because he's giving us what we need. 8 points, 3 points, 4 points, 6 points a game at the center position for the minutes that he plays is not enough. And that's why I said he'd be better suited to come off the bench and go up against twos. Clint, get all the rebounds that you can off the bench. That's what we need you for, sir. And if you scoop any points out of that, great for your minutes. That helps the team be deeper. Trae Young, since his rookie season, has been no lower than 6 in potential assists a game with the rosters that has been put around him for these 6 seasons. That's an absurd fact right there, guys. And he's currently leading the NBA this season, again, first in potential assists at 21 a game. He's getting 11. Where are the other 10 shots going, folks? Why aren't people hit? If people hit 50% of those shots, Trae Young would be averaging 16 assists a game. He would be putting up numbers that nobody has seen before. You see what I'm saying? That's correct. 21. 21 potential assists, and he's leading the league in 28 points generated off of his assists per game. And we don't want to give him a big that can hit every shot. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do it. That just seems strange to me at a certain point, guys. Trae is 4th in total passes a game. So when do facts matter? Y'all let me know what y'all think about that. I'm gonna get out of here for now. Again, make sure you tune into Around the ATL tonight at 7 o'clock on Sports Visions 92.1 FM. I will post the tune in link somewhere on whatever page I post this show at. But if you look at the show information, it's all posted there as well. If you're watching Twitch, make sure you subscribe to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel as well. And again, you can watch off of Facebook, IMTN Worldwide Radio on Facebook. Again, shout out to our sponsors, Southern Classic Transportation, and also IMTN Worldwide Images, and also America's Best Choice Windows out of Columbus, Georgia. Appreciate y'all. If you're a business owner, or if you know a business owner that would like to sponsor the show, make sure you have them hit me up. You can just message me. I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll have a 2-hour show coming up because we've had a lot of stuff happen recently after we recorded the show. Jalen Johnson going down for the year. The Atlanta Dream signing Brittany Griner. That came out of nowhere. Wasn't nothing we can do about it. We already recorded and sent the show off. So wasn't nothing we couldn't amend anything at that point. Show has already been recorded. But that's why we're probably going to start trying to do a 2-hour show the same week we do the half-hour show, to catch up everything as well. So stay tuned for that. But you got to be subscribed to the IMTN Worldwide Radio page to watch that. So make sure you do that. But yeah, one more time. When do facts matter? Is it a matter of convenience? You see what I'm saying? Because I just gave y'all a lot of factual information here that should make a lot of people mad at the Atlanta Hawks organization. I just don't think it is happening enough because people just don't know. There's people who know and don't want to recognize it, and they just ignore it and they just pretend not to see any of it. But for others, I think it's just that they don't know. They don't know that on a random night, Vic gave up 21 points in 35 minutes in a game. We lost that game against the Raptors the other night, 117-94. Don't you think 21 less points given up would have helped? Nats gave up 14 in that game in 20 minutes. Garrison gave up 13 points off the bench himself. That's a lot of points, isn't it? Trey gave up 6 points in 38 minutes. So Trey is not giving up all the points in games. And again, I've also broken down some of these games shot for shot. If you go back and watch some of the previous shows earlier in the 2024 season and the last 8 games that I showed y'all of the 2023 season, you'll see that for yourself. It's quite obvious. I even broke down the 28 games Trey didn't play to say, okay, well, if Trey ain't playing, why isn't the defense better? We're still giving up 125 points a game. What are we doing? We gave up 136 points to the Lakers. What are we talking about, right? So if it's not that, when do facts actually matter to say, well, wait a minute, the turnovers are not really 11 turnover game hurts, but 4 turnover, 5 turnover games, not so much. Even if they did score on all of his turnovers, it's not really hurting us. Why? Because Trae Young is leading the league in 28 points a game per his assist, plus whatever Trae scores. Now, lately, Trae hasn't been scoring a lot, but in a lot of the games, he's averaging 22 again. That's his season average right now. He's averaging 22. So again, he's averaging 22 and producing 28 off of assists that are going in the basket. And he has 21 potential assists every game. Think about the immensity of that mind-boggling stat. He's averaging 11, 12 assists a game, but he leads the league in 21 assists a game, guys. At least 10, 12 extra assists that he's not getting simply because people are missing wide open layups, dunks, and wide open threes. That has to be addressed somehow. Because if it was addressed, the Atlanta Hawks would narrowly lose a game. Because he couldn't. The other thing, besides getting a center that the Hawks need to address, and I almost forgot to mention it, is we do need to get a backup point guard. We need to get a backup point guard that can have continue continuity once Trae comes off the floor. Our whole offensive efficiency drastically drops when Trae Young leaves the floor. I would love to get Malcolm Brogdon on his team. He can average 14 and 4 for you right now. He's a career 38% shooter from three. Not doing that great on three this year, but he's career 38. He can hit the shot, in other words. You can't just leave him open. We know that because we played him plenty of times, right? Why can't we get some of the players that be killing us for once, right? At least do that. That's a fact, right? But Brogdon can hit a jumper. He can distribute the ball. He can give you 4 assists a game. So when Trae comes off the floor, you don't just die out there. It's terrible. So if we were to get a Vucevic and get a Malcolm Brogdon, that would help us out a lot, especially knowing that JJ ain't going to be here. Vucevic will give you your 20 points a game that you're losing from JJ. But then again, even with getting those 2 players, it means for the rest of this season, we need a really good second half from Zach. We can't have any more slumps from Hunter. That 35-point night is great, but that 35-point night is great and all, but how do you spell it? Here we go. So here's his games as of late. This is just for January, okay? 20 points, 3 points. So he went from 20 points in 26 minutes to 3 points in 27 minutes. He went 1 for 12 in that game, 0 of 6 from 3. He had three rebounds and 1 assist. So he went from 20 to 3. Okay. 18 points, 17 points, 12 points, 16 points, 22 points, 10 points, 8 points, 35 points, 16 points. So against Minnesota, he had 35 points. He went 12 for 21 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3. And then against Houston, he went 6 of 15 from the floor, that's 40%, and 1 of 7 from 3, that's 14%. For us to have a shot, we got to have a consistent Hunter. Because, see, from December to January, he went from 22 points a game to 16. He did go down. He's gone down. It's a gap there, obviously, right? Playing the same minutes off the bench. We need Hunter to be consistent. We need Zach to be better than consistent. And depending if we keep Bogey and or Garrison, both of them have to be consistent. We can't keep having Garrison have these 1 for 5. He's only shooting 3, so he can't be 1 for 5 from 3. Bogey can't be 1 of 17 from 3. One for 17 from the floor, I should say. Or 0 of 9 from 3. He's had a lot of those games this year. Let's pull Bogey up. Because again, I just don't think people hear this enough. I wonder if they're going to give me the right player. They did, good. Here's Bogey's month of January so far, guys. 5 points, 11, 17, 9, 3, 7, 1, 2, 23, and 4. These are facts here. Here's what he shot in these games. 2 of 6, 4 of 10, 7 of 11, 3 of 13, 1 of 10, 2 of 4, 0 of 4, 0 of 9. He did have 8 of 12 game for 23 points. Then he went 2 of 12 for 4 points. From the 3-point stripe, 1 of 4, 3 of 7, 3 of 6, 2 of 9, 1 of 9, 1 of 3, 0 of 4, 0 of 4, 3 of 5, 0 for 6. He's shooting 24% from 3 in January so far, guys. That is bad. That's terrible. For Bogey, that is horrid. But these are facts. We need more from Bogey if we end up keeping them. We could still finish 6th in the East as I predicted on October 2nd, as I wrap this up officially now. But we need more from everybody. And if we don't make any moves at all, I don't know how it's going to happen if we make no moves, but I know we need to make the move at center. We need to make the move at center more than we do the backup point guard. We've been winging it at the backup point guard forever, but we really could do a big job of moving forward if we can get us a center that could be an offensive threat. He doesn't even have to shoot threes. He just needs to be able to hit an elbow jumper from the free throw line. My goodness. And then be able to finish at the basket all the time. And then be able to hit free throws all the time. Because now you might not want to foul this person so much because they can hit a free throw. They can stay in the fourth quarter. See, the one thing about Shaq, he was dominant. He would finish at the basket at least for you. He might miss the free throws, but he has 35 points anyway, and he doesn't shoot threes, right? You don't have that much dominance in the NBA like that anymore, but we need some semblance of it, though. We got plenty of bigs out there that finishes at the hole all the time. There's a lot of them out there. We just don't have that. And we don't have the size. We don't have just the sheer size of some of these other teams, which is why we give up so many points in the paint continually. That has to stop. The only way to do that is to get a big with size and skill. So either you go get a dominant defensive center that could, again, we're giving up 3 points more than we score per game. So either we got to score a few more points or we got to stop a few more points. We're leaving 25 to 40 points a game on the floor every game, guys, because of missed shots generated from Trae Young. He's passing the ball enough to have 21 assists a game in a regular season. And he's not doing it because people are missing shots. This Raptors game, I hadn't had a chance to look at the most recent game. But Nance in that game was 2 of 12. Wait a minute, where's it at? Where is it at? 2 of 12. He was 2 of 10. Bogey was 2 of 12. Garrison was 1 for 5. Remember all the people who are out. JJ's out. Hunter was out. All these people are out. Zach's out. So who's left? We don't have enough that are producing on a regular basis right now. And we got to have that to compete. Because even in this game where Vitt had 20 and 7, 3 steals and 2 blocks. He gave up 21 points in that game himself. Dyson had 13.6 dimes, 5 steals, but he gave up 14 points also. Roddy only had 3. That didn't help us. Bogey only had 7. That didn't help us. I mean, my bad. He gave up 3 points. So that didn't hurt us. Bogey only gave up 7 points in this particular game. That didn't hurt us. Clint didn't really play that game. So he didn't really hurt us as far as points given up. There's games where Clint Capella has given up 30 points in a game, y'all. Y'all know that? If he's not able to offset that on the offensive side, that doesn't help the team win games. It just doesn't. It doesn't. All the bigs in the league that scored 25, 30 points against us, and Clint's been the guy, well, what do you say about that? Because he can't score that many points. He can't even score barely 15 regularly. So if the other guy is scoring 30, you're scoring 14, 12, that doesn't even out, does it? Right? So again, why doesn't the organization do anything about these things, which are facts, non-contestable? The Atlanta Hawks can still salvage this, but we got to make some moves because, again, just last night, Porzingis had 34 and 11, Zubac had 21 and 22, Wemby had 23 and 12, Gafford 22 and 12, Joker 17, 6 and 6, Cat 14 and 10, 5 dimes, and Sabonis had 13, 11, and 14, another triple-double. Why can't we have some of that? Just a little bit, just a teensy-weensy bit. Because Trae Young has been a league leader in potential assists since he's been in the league with no All-Stars, no potential Hall of Famers on his roster. But all these other guys, they got those people and or really good, consistent players on their teams. James Harden right now is shooting 39% from the floor and nobody cares because of what Norman Powell's doing, what Claw is doing now that he's back, and what Zubac has been doing the entire season. And they're winning over there in Clipperland. Don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs, but at least they're going to get to the playoffs. You can't win a championship without being in the playoffs, right? And at a certain point, that got to matter a little bit too. We're wasting a lot of careers here in Atlanta for no reason, of really talented players. Joker leads the league at 78 passes made a game. Trae is 4th. He's passing the ball 64 times a game, and we're wasting all of it. Because the alternative, Trae, stop passing the ball and just score. Trae, go out there and score. Shoot as many times as LaMelo Ball does a game. And let's just see what happens. And we've seen some of that this season. Again, Trae has had 12 games this season where he shot 20 or more. That's not a lot from what he used to do, right? And he had to do it in most of those cases too. And he's peeled himself off so much from being the scorer that it is a detrimental to the team, because we had some games where he said, okay, I need to try to score now. We probably win some of these games we've lost recently because we don't got nobody hitting those shots. We left 35 points on the board against the Raptors the other night, y'all. 21 points in the fourth quarter alone from wide open missed shots, dunks, layups. I showed it to you. It ain't cool anymore. We got to do something about it. So I'm going to get out of here, y'all. My bad. I wasn't planning to be on here more than 30 minutes. I'm on here an hour, so I'm going to go officially now. Check out the show tonight, Sports Visions 92.1 FM in Columbus, Georgia. I will put the tune-in link so you can listen to it live. Make sure if you've not subscribed yet to the IMTN Worldwide Radio YouTube channel, please do that now. You can also follow on Twitch, IMTN Worldwide Radio, and Facebook, IMTN Worldwide Radio. And as soon as I get ready to go, I see a message. That is not a real message, though. Looks like a bot. But anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all take care. Peace.